Well, hello everyone. I guess for those that just saw me before, thank you for swapping over. For everyone else, this is Follow Everton. Wezo's with me, and he joins us from South Africa on a really I'm not even sure how to swear in South African. What do you want to say, Wes? You've got free reign to make up words right now, in my view.
I don't think I can say it on here, mate, live, because I said it on the pre-match with the Robs there. Calvert
Mhm.
Lewin basically got this game and next game before the fans turn on them all together, and he didn't show anything today again.
Yeah,
Just poor build-up play again, slow, methodical, and it's like that. And then at the end, it's like he had three chances to put across in the box. You've got about five or six players in the box, and you've
hmm
got three chances to put in the box, and they're passing it backwards and forwards to each other. And you're like,
yeah, they're afraid to
get a
cross it.
ball, get a ball in the box.
Yeah. So before I completely explode, because I've been trying to handle myself live for 2 hours, Wes, let's go through some of the comments that kind of vent on this too. Oh, not that one. That's a bit painful to watch. I think, come on, Dyche has to go. We have, and this was against Bournemouth FC. My granddad wouldn't have been able to comprehend it. I find it ridiculous. Bournemouth, you know what? They deserve credit. They're better than us. They weren't good today, but they're good enough to get a result when they didn't deserve one because we are worse. We are this dross, whatever you want to say. Like, okay, Wes, you were saying the line, oh, like, imagine, yeah, like, okay, well, the build up play. Imagine this is maybe a little bit basic, but you are in grade three as like you're a teacher. We're the teachers now, and Everton are the footballers, and you're like, okay, if you add one plus one plus one plus one plus one, it eventually get to the number you want. Or you use multiplication tables, you get there faster. Like it's a bit like watching Everton is just it's so slow, so obvious. People are afraid when they have the chance, they don't take a risk. They pass it back. They let Bournemouth have the ball, and we're not punching. And I know, like, if you just where I'm saying one plus one, it's like if we do little passes that are all nice, well and good, and then we just hoof it long, and then we give the ball away. What's the point? And it was a lot of that today.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. It's like nobody wants the ball. Like nobody's
Mm-hmm.
willing to grab the ball, grab the game by the scruff of the neck, and drive the team forward. It's like the ball's like a hot potato. It's like I don't want it. Give it to someone, and invariably it ends up back at Pickford, who then knocks it long
Mm-hmm.
to absolutely nobody.
Yeah,
Like
there was so much of that.
that for me that header, he should be coming out and clearing that out. Like it's not like
Oh yeah, you're
between the
talking
6 yard box.
their first goal. Yeah.
Yeah, so the ball is not between the 6 yard box and the 18 yard line, right? So what
Yeah.
why is he staying there? Like you got two defenders who like got out muscled by one striker, and you're like, and the thing is the ball was
Yeah.
behind Solanke. It was a
Mhm.
great header, but for me that should never he should never be like two against one, and he's winning the header.
Yeah. Well, and I was what, and again, I have to, at some point, I'll learn how to do like the video analysis of it because I noticed immediately, I think his name was Kelly, either their left back or some left midfielder, number five. Somehow Coleman, Branthwaite, and Tarkovsky all went to him. Why? Do you not trust that Coleman can handle it? Okay. Then, the right centre back, Tarkovsky, you go. Branthwaite, as the left centre back, went as well. So now you have three players taking their left winger on. He crosses, and then Tarkovsky realizes he's effed up. He's backing up. He isn't able to get back into a good position. And what do you call it? Solanke's peeled off, and now it's the most unreliable header of the football trying to mark Solanke. And it's a great header, but it's an open header. It shouldn't have happened. It was the only time that Solanke won a header all match because they were out of position
Yeah,
to me.
it's like he's the danger man, and Semedo was the danger man, and yeah, like Semedo was left to run right through the middle of the pitch, and then eventually it gets put out to the left, and then he puts a cross, and there's nobody there closing the cross down.
Yeah, if I took, and I mean the goal wasn't Semedo, but so many times Semedo, he wasn't even excellent, but he's dangerous. It was him, Kluivert, and Ouattara came on for him. What's the guy's name? Not Solanke.
Ouattara.
So Tavernier, Ouattara came on, but it was like Tavernier, and those are the only players that stood out to me at all in this match for them. Solanke wasn't even that. He didn't impact it that much. It was just he was in the right place at the right time, like a good striker should be. He knew how to find space behind. Because what type of defender really wants to be running backwards over the left shoulder, right shoulder, can't time when to jump because they're not in the right position. So he knew how to position himself. We couldn't. If DCL did that today, it's hard to even remember because you'd actually have to pause it and then realize, oh crap, you know what? We didn't cross the ball. We crossed it terribly. So there's no point of DCL even running anymore. Why? Because I think, do you feel, and we can still say DCL was not doing great today, but did you feel that he at least was like winning the ball a little bit more, but with his feet and passing a bit better? Because I felt that he was winning the ball, passing off, and then it would break down. So it's hard to say that he doesn't get away scot-free, but like, what's he to do a lot of the time? Because he wasn't even getting any delivery.
But as a striker, you've got to create space for yourself, and after time he's running into midfield to collect the ball. He's not pulling defenders out of position, and the core today he had like spaghetti legs. The ball kept getting stuck underneath him, and he was kept losing possession. And you're like, what have you been doing for 3 weeks?
Well,
like, surely, like Dice is
slightly healthy. Sorry, what has he been doing for 3 weeks? My thought is Decore looks slightly healthier than he did before he left, and that's it. But it wasn't good. You know when and I was saying this to Ryan, and I'm out of shape as well. So if I decided to go for a run for 6 miles tomorrow, and then you try and run the next day and your legs don't work because they're so sore and strained, that's what it looked like watching Decore run today. He just kind of like flung a leg out, and then he couldn't get to the ball, did a sloppy tackle, this kind of deal.
The thing is, right, it took a mistake from the goalie for us to score. Otherwise, we was never gonna score.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the sad thing about it, is that like in past games, we've been creating chances and not scoring them. We hardly created anything today.
Yeah. And it wasn't as if they were so good defensively. There was so much hoofball again. But I don't know. I'm not sure if you're able to watch this you said you're in Johannesburg, right?
Joburg.
Joburg, yeah. So you're in Joburg. Did you notice how often you'd pass the ball or like Onana would try and chip it and there's just a puddle of water flew off the feet? So like the middle of the field was just shocking. So but they didn't react. Then they basically compensated with long balls. And I think Onana was okay in the middle, but he also learned chip the ball over, but he's not good. He's not the one who's meant to score. You're relying on Harrison, an out of form DCL, a Decore that doesn't have legs right now, a McNeil that was not as good or effective as in recent weeks, but so really crap, and James Garner. And then you have the overlapping player of Ben Godfrey, didn't cross it enough, and was worried about.
He doesn't offer any. He doesn't ever offer anything.
He was worried about the menu, but he couldn't defend. He couldn't strike.
Our fullbacks don't offer anything at all. Like there's no overlap, there's no underlap, there's no inverted wingers.
There's no lap.
There's nothing at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're like, you just think, where are the goals going to come from? We've got no creativity in the team.
Mistake, should it?
No, but we got no creativity in the team whatsoever. Yep. Like Gomez come on and he was like trying his best to create something, but then, like I said, at the end, I can't remember who it was him, and I'm not sure whether it was Decore or him and somebody else. Just three opportunities to get the ball into the box and they're passing it backwards and forwards to each other. And you're like even going back to like we're in the like 94th minute and the ball's getting passed to Pickford. He's knocking it like halfway up to between his goal and the halfway line, like to knock it into the box, and you're like, but he's taken like an age to do it, and you're like, just pump the fucking ball forward. I hope for the best. You know, not everybody's like praising him for his distribution and all that. At that present time, nobody's asked if you can pick out a player on the wing, right? Just get it forward, get it into the box, and you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
but they didn't even do that.
You know what you should have done? We should have subbed Ben Godfrey and made Pickford wear the number 1 shirt, but a blue one, a grey one, so he could be left back. He does some darting run to the left wing, joins McNeil, crosses it from the left side, and you know what? You put Robles in goal. Then at least you have distribution closer to the goal and you have an impact. Because what do you expect from a keeper to try and perfectly arc it and let it drop? And you know what? Any good defender, especially if they're starting to drop back, they anticipate everything. You should. Yeah. They're professionals.
Because it's the thing is, it's predictable. Do you know what I mean? Like to me today, right? Jack Harrison was pointless being on the pitch.
Yep.
For their first goal, right? He was weak as piss, and he got the ball taken off him, and he was like that all game. Like he's not a strong player. He just gets pushed off the ball too easy, and he didn't offer anything. I can't even remember him putting a cross into the box. And you're like, that's your job as a winger.
They weren't good. He did not stand out to me.
No, none of them did. Like, well, even the defense,
they were fine, but it's not about Onana, Branthwaite, Tarkowski, and Pickford. That means you're happy and you hold on to a 1-0. You know what? We need to score. They can't be the heroes. We need someone else. James Garner didn't do good enough, but he tried, but he didn't do it. Harrison just seems out of options. Young was even worse when he came on. He couldn't run, he couldn't tackle, and he looked like he had snail pace, and like whatever the guy's name was that was doing all their set pieces. He had played a full match and was outrunning Ashley Young in like 5 minutes. So Ashley Young doesn't make an impact anymore. So
Cook was
Robin's out injured and Juma's out injured. We're just desperate for ideas. Just put DCL on the right wing, maybe, because at least then he can try and distribute it to somebody else. It's just something different because it's so obvious. And when you watched it over there in Joburg, did you notice there was a play where DCL was on his own, but it was like him against the center halves? And then I blink, I look up, and there are 7 Bournemouth players running back to defend the ball, but they had all clustered by DCL. And the only player I think may have been Dwight McNeil was the only other player running. So what did all the Everton players do? Say, DCL's running, well, let's just let him sit, and we're going to get the ball back over here, and then we're going to hold possession? You mean, I'm meant to collect the ball, find space on the back post because all their players are out of position. We trained for this all week on these 2v2 scenarios. I get to the back post and I'm free. Nah. Sit back and defend.
If you was going off rating players today, would you give anybody in that team more than a 5? Because I wouldn't. I don't think anybody.
It's only like Onana or like the mistake of Branthwaite and Tarkowski dropped them to a 5. I think Onana's maybe a 6 because he did what he's meant to do. It was not his fault that other players were out of position. He won the ball and he passed it a bit better than anyone else, but he was not good. But he was our best at a 6 out of 10 to me. That's not good. That's not excellent. The 6 is like your minimum Premier League standard on my rating. Everyone else is subpar today.
Yeah, I just, you know what? It's hard. I know when I was watching it.
Beto, I think he would be a 6 or a 7. He impacted, he scored, he did the right thing. He put it in the onion bag. We've been screaming for goals. So maybe him.
But it was like, do you know what? For me, when Beto come on, it was like DCL thought, well, my job's done when your job hasn't even begun. You know what I mean? You haven't even
If you're
got out
losing,
the
your
starting
job
blocks.
is not done.
Yeah, but it was like, the pressure's off me now. There's another striker on. You're like, well, no. Like the whole point of bringing another striker on is to make them either change formation or think a bit more of and maybe panic a bit more at the back.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He was just like not asked. He was like,
yeah, it was weird. So what I was going to do, Wes, was go through some of the stats and just some of the high level scenarios, because the frustration, I think we can go on for ages, and we have all the comments to sift through as well. So
yeah.
what I was
The
gonna
thing
do,
is, though, like people are saying dice out, right? And I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm not saying they're right. Everyone has their opinion, and obviously their opinion matters. But who's going to come into Everton with 9 games left to go? If you sack him,
yeah,
like we're on a equal the run what Mike Walker was on.
yeah. You know what's funny? I would honestly trust somebody. I'm not sure how much of the different YouTube content for Toffees you've listened to, but I'd almost take Mike from like what's his name from Blue Boys Network. He seems to know what he's doing. I feel like we're that desperate.
Yeah, that's it. Everybody's a manager when they want to be in it, but
Yeah,
when it boils down to it, like I don't think there's anybody out there that will get a tune out of these. I really don't, because they're absolutely woeful.
yeah. So I was going to bring up this. I'll see if I can get the graphics to work correctly. I was trying to sneak us into this guy. So we've got a little icons down the bottom, but this was the breakdown of the starting lineups. And yeah, the way SofaScore said it, Onana was fine. Taki, Pickford, Branthwaite were fine. I think McNeil, them giving him a 7. No, he does not deserve that kind of rating. Godfrey was underwhelming. Coleman with that own goal drops his score, but he wasn't terrible, but he wasn't good. But it was funny. Even a poor Seamus Coleman, to me, stood out on that right side, that he knew how to do a throw in with a simple one touch to do a cross. You know? So what were you saying, Wes?
Who's give them scores out?
This is the algorithm of SofaScore based on all the different metrics that they have. So they're like predicted based on like AI or whatever their statistical algorithm is on skill of player. So it's not truth. It's not like a matter of humans putting an opinion out like an IMDb movie rating. It's their determination of passes, pass accuracy, and all these kind of things.
Yeah. So, and you know what? When I was watching the game in Joburg earlier,
yeah,
the commentator was effing the coke, and he said Coleman's going to get some stick off the fans after that, but there's not much he could do. Do you know what I mean? The cross could have been stopped before it even got to him, but you had 2 defenders who were kind of like looking at the ball to where it was going and trying to, stop the ball going to the Bournemouth player instead of clearing the ball out. So,
yeah, well, did anyone tell him there was no one behind him? If they did, that's on Seamus. If he didn't know, I understand why he did not want to let the ball go and then someone taps it in.
No, because if you look at it,
you never know.
If you look at it, it's bounced. Like, he hasn't expected the ball to come to him. He's expected it to get clear before it gets to him, and he's just sort of like stood there, and it's hit his chest and gone in.
Yeah, but he did not position. Like, again, you have to position your chest correctly. I don't think he did. Lee Carsley would be an interesting one. He gets Everton. I haven't watched his managerial style, but he's with is he under 21s England manager right now? Is that right? That's what Dave's saying, that bring in Carsley.
Sorry, mate. His dogs keeps going skips.
Oh, no, all good.
Yeah, he's England's under 21 manager. Yeah.
Yeah,
and he's doing well with them. Don't get me wrong, but whether he's the answer to sort of step up and manage at Premier League levels are different ball games. Never done it, so
Yeah,
you
that's a
know,
huge risk at this time.
yeah,
And
it's
Jim
interesting
Watson's
to
saying the
think.
same thing we also know. No one to sack him, Wes, because what are you going to do? Put us in more debt right now?
Yeah, exactly,
Who makes the call?
exactly. Like he's, he's here for at least to the end of the season. That's the simple thing. Like no club in the right mind is going to sack a manager with 9 games to go. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? So when all said and done, we're outside the relegation zone at the moment. So
from last.
it's not panic stations. We've got Newcastle on Tuesday, and then we've got some really important games coming up.
Yeah, and you know what? Newcastle let in 3 against Dice 2.0, in my opinion, and David Moyes.
Yeah, but you also think as well like that today a Luton team put 3 goals past that Bournemouth team.
Mm-hmm.
And you think what like apart from the goal, have you got any stats there of shots on target or anything like that?
Yeah, so let me bring up these guys. Well, trying to get this correct. Sorry. There we go. So it's showing XG. So the left hand side is Bournemouth, right hand side is Everton. So like possession was about equal, and that was really interesting. I think you noticed that too, Wes, that Bournemouth gave us the ball because we didn't know what to do with it. So total shots was 11 again, 11 for Bournemouth, 4 on target. Everton 7, 3 on target. Off target, I think I'm struggling to read that. It says either three for Bournemouth, 2 for Everton, I think. But yeah, nothing really overwhelming either way.
Yeah,
Equal on
and
the corners.
you know what we did? We never even threatened on the corners, which is what we've been.
We did not.
We've been threatening teams when we've played them. Is we've been like that. That's been our main goal threat. They dealt with it dead easy.
Yeah, we were. It's either going back posts and then we couldn't kind of cross back in. We basically meant to crowd the keeper. Tarkovsky wins the back post header, and then something happens, or Onana wins the header, and we didn't really look that dangerous at all. So
couldn't beat the first man.
No, we couldn't.
Every bloody time.
So I could bring up a heat map of each player. The challenge that I'm going to have, Gaza, is my laptop, if I do an actual screen share, is prone to crashing. I can give it a shot, but there is a risk my laptop freezes as I do it. But if we want to give that a try, I can do that. So why don't we do that quickly? I'll set up.
While you're doing that, right? Let's talk about the foul on DCL.
Yeah, penalty.
Right.
It was soft contact, but it was a penalty to me.
Yeah, like there's been penalties given for less contact than that. Do you know what I mean? And it didn't even go to VAR. It didn't even go to VAR for him to say now and say to the ref, I think you need to go and have a look at it.
Yeah.
And you think to yourself, why didn't he do that? Not trying to some conspiracy here, but if that's Manchester City Arsenal tomorrow, the same thing happens. It's going to VAR.
Yeah. So what I'm going to try to do here, Wes, is see if I can zoom in. I've got ad pop-ups, so it might get a little bit iffy here, but I can try and see if I can do a screen share. There is a risk that it freezes, so if that happens, just let me know and we'll stop.
So Peter Duggan's saying he's seen them given, but DCL didn't even appeal it. And you're like, why didn't it, like that? This is the thing of like, why are we not getting in the our captain, why is he not going to the ref? Why isn't he getting in his face and going, that's a penalty, you need to check it? Or DCL going, it's a penalty. He was getting fouled by that Mepham all game, DCL. And yeah, like I think he got about 2 fouls given him for him.
Yeah. So I'm not as familiar with doing screen share when I've got just my laptop on. So I'm going to try and show some of the heat maps live, but it's a little bit flimsy with my laptop. So apologies if it's a bit slow here on the Wi-Fi.
So where me saying that if that's a penalty on Calvert-Lewin, Branthwaite did worse. I'm not having that. Branthwaite put his
I don't agree because he used his hands, but he was very clever with how he used his hands.
Yeah, it was literally a millisecond he had hold of him. So I can't agree with you there, Wormy. Like for me, Branthwaite was never a penalty. Calvert-Lewin's, there was genuine contact on his shin, and he went down. But like Peter Duggan said, he never appealed it, and you're not going to get nothing, at least if you don't ask. You know what I mean? But for it not to even go to the VAR is baffling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry, my computer was struggling to show that. I'm probably going to do a match breakdown with Chad tomorrow and maybe another special guest, so I can go into heat maps later. But, sorry, and you were talking. I missed you there. Were you talking about the penalty for?
Yeah, so Wormy's not having it. Like he did grab him, but it was literally for a millisecond, which is not enough for him to go down. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, the refs have been consistent with that. You know what I mean? If he's got hold of his and he's chugging his jersey for 2 or 3 seconds, then yeah. But he literally just grabbed him slightly,
touch, release, and then it made it uncomfortable. But that's the level of defending that I think is perfectly shouldn't. If that's a penalty, I think we've ruined our game. So I'm glad that wasn't called, and for Everton, but.
Dave Mack saying it went to VAR according to the TV in Joburg. They said that Effa Nakoku says it wasn't even sent up to VAR.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, it would have been excellent, if you actually on the local broadcasting, if Stephen Pienaar could provide that content for you, Wes. Don't you think?
I know.
The True Blue would just be absolutely out. He would probably be more angry than we are. I'm not sure he'd be allowed to come on because he would be swearing probably a whole lot because of how frustrated he would be saying, I played for this great club. I know I was there. I left. I wanted to come back. I knew how to do link-up play. I could pass and move and look dangerous in the final third. What are you guys doing? I'm sure would be a opinion. Or he's like, that's why they paid me a lot of money and that's why I'm not them. And a lot of footballers have their own egos, so maybe he doesn't care about it anymore. But imagine being a player, watching how good Everton were and going, what is this crap? We as fans know that and watch it. But as a player, it must be fascinating seeing, like Coleman, he knows he's about done, but how frustrating must it be for him knowing how good the squad used to be that he was under when he was the one saying, all right, the new Patterson is going to replace Phil Neville at right back, do these diving runs, get committed, swear at just raging up players, getting in fights, just showing that heart that says, I'm going to take risks. I'm going to go on to this game, be edgy. We just didn't feel that at all, did we? There wasn't much of that at all.
No.
And our fans screaming for it.
Dude, like I say, after the 3-week break, you'd expect them to come back refreshed and ready to go again and working on the stuff that they've been working on the 3 weeks off. But it just looked more of the same.
Yeah. Like a couple players looked a little better, but I'm talking, I think I said DCL is usually like a 3 to 4 out of 10. He was 1 point out of 10 better than he has been. Doucouré looked slightly fitter. Coleman was playing. Other than that, there was not much difference. Onana has been playing very similar in other matches for Belgium, and he's not meant. At least our Belgian play, they don't need him to be the one breaking the field open. He holds up the play, and others do the work. But guess what? Who's doing that for us? Who's responsible? And I think we can outline it. If you said who's responsible, you'd say, well, the fullbacks aren't doing enough. The wingers aren't doing enough. James Garner as the box-to-box wasn't doing enough. Doucouré wasn't doing enough. and Diesel either wasn't presenting well enough or doing the kinds of runs to not force him to be that false nine, doing a one-touch pass that wasn't working. So all of them, to me, are accountable.
Yeah, the whole team as a collective, the whole team as a collective are accountable. Do you mean like you can talk about the defending and stuff like that, but for me, like I said, that their first goal, that header, the keeper should be coming out and clearing that, but he doesn't. He stays, and he put it one way. There was a cross came in later on, and he come out and punched it, and it was roughly around the same area, and you think, what, like, why aren't you coming out and dealing with that? Because he sort of went forward and then went back for the goal, and you're like, don't be indecisive. Come out and clear out. If you have to clear out some of your own defenders, then by all means do it. Do you know what I mean?
You really think that Tarkovsky couldn't take a bit of a bruise on his head, on his noggin when he comes through and just clears it? He'll be fine. He'll get over it.
But the thing is, Chris, right? What's the solution? Because we're not blessed with like a great bench. You know what I mean? We're not blessed with like some superstars, you know, sitting in the wings waiting to come on. What we've got is what we have to put up with for the rest of the season. So what's the solution? You know, people are saying sack the manager, but you sack the manager and you still got the same squad of players.
So here's an idea. We'll see what you think on this. So they came up with needing Ghana Gay back in the squad. Ghana Gay is not as good as a true number 6. They're different. Like Onana is all about position, and Ghana Gay is like the little minnow that like little clips and intercepts the ball. When Ghana Gay's on the field, though, he's a little bit more progressive on the ball and a little bit more forward thinking, but he still can't strike the ball to save himself. So it's kind of a wasted thing there. But he is quite good in like up the pitch, a little bit more progressive than Onana when he wins the ball in those areas, I'd say. So maybe you say, okay, we need Ghana Gay back in the middle. So then it's a matter of if you get rid of Onana, or maybe. But what I think you could almost do is have either James. If you decided to have 2 defensive midfielders, you'd have James Garner or Onana. I don't think you can have both. And what you would want is someone other than Doucouré up front in that number 10 slot. And I think we should actually be starting Gomez, potentially with James Garner a bit higher. The other thought, which is a little bit risky, but James Garner provides a little bit more pace and energy as a right back than the other ones we've seen. I know he's not a true right back, and he sometimes is prone for defensive lapses for marking. That was usually as a right winger, though. So maybe you get him to right back because he does run, he does overlap, and he can cross with his right foot. So do you put him as the right back, and then you allow for Onana, Ghana Gay, and Gomez in the middle as as 3, and then McNeil stays on the left with Mikalenko when he's fit, and then you put Beto up front. Take DCL out. But is that going to fix it? I don't know, but we need calm collection. You need to be calm and collected on the ball, but quick enough. I think Gomez is a bit too slow, but he makes the right pass. And Doucouré doesn't look fit enough. So I think he's a 15-minute impact player right now, so he needs to get off the field. That's kind of where I'm at.
Do you think a solution might be switching to a 3, maybe bringing Michael Keane back into the fold?
It's an option. I know we give crap for Michael Keane defensively. In a 3, he's more comfortable on the ball, and he doesn't. As long as he's not chasing Jamie Vardy and it's like an elephant and a mouse, because anytime there's a small player, he doesn't know how to interact. But maybe he's got cover with someone else. So if we do 5 at the back, and O'Brien's been saying that too, then what you would end up having, I think Godfrey would keep his spot, and you'd have Godfrey, Tarkovsky, and Branthwaite in the middle. And it would allow one of them to kind of charge through the midfield instead of it having to be Onana, Ghana Gay in this. So I think you have those 3. Mikalenko is a left wing back. Probably, unfortunately, we have either Coleman or Patterson as right wing back. And then the real question goes, what do you do with the rest? Do you keep McNeil or do you sub him? I would say you either keep McNeil or Mikalenko as a left wing back. The other one needs to get benched. And I think right now McNeil needs to be benched. So then you would have that 5, and then you have to fit another 5 players in. So do you do kind of a 5-2-2-1, or do you do 5? Well, you would want 2 center midfielders, so you'd probably go Anana and Adressagana. And then what do you do up front? Is it like a 5-2-1-2? Do you have some advanced midfielder? So you do 5-2-2-1, and you would then say maybe Harrison is more comfortable centrally with Gomez, and then you have Beto up front, maybe. So that's kind of what Jim Watson's saying. But then the question is, is it more like a 3? Yeah. Is it 3-5-2? Is it, or is it kind of like 3-6-1 where you have a flat 4 directly ahead and you have some kind of link up play? Because right now
you could still put the core in there and play like a 3.
He doesn't look fit enough to play a full 90, does he, Wes? That's my problem.
No, but like I said to you a few weeks ago, he's playing injured anyway, and he's not able to sprint. I know he's not the quickest anyway, but he's not able to sprint because he's got this injury.
Yeah.
So you kind of get in the maybe a 55-60% Decoder, you know what I mean?
Bust his gut for the final 20 minutes, and he's an impact player at the end of the game because he's a handful, and they're not used to how to mark him at that part of the match. He's a new element to deal with.
But then when you've got him as your leading goal scorer with six goals, right? It's hard to not put him in the team from the start. Do you know what I mean? Because nobody else is getting goals. Literally nobody. But like I said, and I keep saying it. People keep saying to me, that Beto shit and all this, that, and the other. But I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I think there's a player in there. I just think that maybe next season we might see the best of Beto. But he's for me, he still offers more than DCL is right now. You know what I mean?
So this may sound like a silly, outrageous statement, but I think if Beto played for Spurs, he'd be amazing because you'd have someone like a Maddison knowing when to pass the ball to him correctly and being more advanced, and then he can just run into the channels all the time, a bit more like what Son would do or something. But the problem is we don't bring the ball up to pass that through ball enough, so he's kind of stuck a lot, and then he can bring across.
But it's one of them. It's when we try and speed up our play, that's when our passing goes awry. It's woeful. You know what I mean? So they have to slow it down and keep passing it backwards and forwards and backwards and sideways and to sort of like. But then there's nobody running to create space. There's no runners off the ball. It's like they're just static. They're like statues. It's like, I'm going to stand here until the ball eventually comes to me. No, make a run into the box. Create space.
So I'll simplify the expression you're saying, Wes. You need someone to pass and move. Instead of moving to a position, pass, and now your job's done. No, it's not. Holding possession is not useful. What you need to do is win the ball, be in a good position. After you've touched the ball, your job, as you're saying for DCL, your job isn't done. Now you go advance. You find a gap. You find a line. Make the defender uncomfortable. Release the ball early. Take a risk. Like, I think here, someone said about now I've got to get going here, I think, pretty soon before Airbnb kicks me out. The best formation in the world is no substitute for heart and desire. Luton and Forest have plenty of desire. I guess Forest have desire, but let's just stick with Luton for that matter. They take the risks. They pass and move. The problem is they'll pass and move incorrectly, but they'll try. and they create an open match because of it.
Yeah.
We pass, we don't move, and we pass and break down after 3.
The thing is with Luton is that they're scoring goals, but they can't defend. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter how many goals you score throughout the season. If you concede more than what you score, and you're going to get relegated because you're not going to get any points. You know, like they went 1-0 up today against Spurs, got beat. They went 3-0 up in the last game, got beat 4-3. Do you know what I mean? And you're like, you can't, like, maybe this is Dyche's thinking, right? Is that if we can stay in the game and keep picking up points, you know, the likes of Burnley and Luton and Sheffield United, they're going to get beat more than what they win. But Sheffield United were unlucky today. They were 3-1 up and drew 3-3 with Fulham.
Yeah, I didn't actually check that one. I've been so busy on the East Coast. Yeah, 3-3. Okay, so they came back. Unlucky for them.
But there was 14 minutes injury time in that game.
Wild. So the part of the problem now is, which if we weren't conceding cheap goals, like, okay, you can kind of say, you know what, occasionally things happen. The Solanke goal, all well and good. But we've given away so many sloppy goals now that we have tried to open up a little bit and we've gotten worse. So do we need to tighten up the ship and get a bunch of 0-0s? Yeah, probably. Because, and we're all on we're watching these, like, are we staying up shows where we have 0-0, we're watching Forest doing watch-alongs together. We're hoping for draws. You know how sad it is that we're just expecting to get draws and that's how we get out of this? When we watch one of these relegation watch-alongs together, we're hoping for them to draw. And that's the standard we expect for ourselves. So how do we differentiate up the table? You have to win.
Yeah, but it's like say, like we're kind of, pinning our hopes up on now playing them teams, right? But they'll be thinking exactly the same thing. They're pinning their hopes on playing us.
Yep.
So, and with our record at Goodison, it's like, which is woeful for a home team, but we were kind of like where we were or where we are in the league based on our away form. You know what I mean? And now the away form's gone again.
Yeah.
So
what we need is the appeal from Forest to all of a sudden get them another 2 points for having the audacity to challenge the sanctity of the Premier League's decision-making, and that's how we gain points. We don't gain points anymore by winning matches. We let the Premier League give us points.
Yeah. It's like this second breach team might go, oh, them 6 points you can have 3 back.
Yeah. So I'm about to hit my checkout time at my Airbnb. Was there anything else we wanted to say before we signed out? I know we've covered a few things here. Again, just a really frustrating performance. What is it? Get rid of Dyche? What do we do? Any other kind of final thoughts before we maybe sign out?
I just don't know the solution to this, mate, because we haven't won since December, and there doesn't look like a win coming up anytime soon. Based on even after 3 weeks off.
Yeah,
and it's like they say it's much of the same, like toil but no real graft. No heart. That's what boils down to, is having the heart in there for the fight, and they just don't seem to have it in them.
Yeah, Coleman does, and that's the tragedy that it was him that let in the own goal. That's the hardest part, I think, today. So I'll do a couple things, including if you are interested in being a more involved member of the Follow Everton group, you can actually donate and contribute. I think there's a couple different payment options through the YouTube app. If you go to Follow Everton and membership, you can be involved. But honestly, I think we have what 215 people watching this, and we had a really good number following in the last show. So really appreciate everyone that's been on this. I know it's on these matches. It's just a frustrating release of energy on the comments, and it's hard to catch it all. But thank you everyone for your engagement there, and please like and subscribe because we're doing a lot of this content. Wes and Robbie are doing midweek show. I usually do something on a Sunday or a Monday after these matches, along with the watch-alongs and stuff like this. So if you guys like what we're doing, the best way to plan to watch live is to actually know when we go live, which is a lot easier when you're a subscriber of my channel.
I take it. Obviously, with the time difference, you won't be able to do a watch along on Tuesday.
No, I'll be in the middle of work. I will be, I think, available for the Chelsea match, but not. I'll be in the middle of work on Tuesday, so no way, unfortunately.
It's the same for me over here in Johannesburg.
Yeah. Well, you know what you could do is you actually do a watch along from the cab. No, that'd be dangerous.
That would be very dangerous.
The backseat reactions of any poor sod in the back of the cab.
All right then, mate.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on, and
have a good Easter weekend, Blues.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't let Everton ruin it.
Well, stay positive. Stay a manageable level of drinking responsibly. Hopefully, everyone has a great trip, and it's not the end of the world, but we really want to see a change, and hopefully,
just get out and get leathered. Never mind drinking responsible. Everton saying you to drink. Get out and get absolutely leathered.
Just like a good Mother's Day brawler. All right. Well, thanks everyone. Until next time, this is Aussie Chris and Wes. Thank you for watching Follow Everton. Catch you later.
Take it easy.